Why do we do this to ourselves? I mean, I'm a mom of 3. I can totally relate to putting myself through unnecessary guilt trips. They just come so easy, you know? So today in this video, I really want to talk about some of the most common guilt trips, specifically for working moms. These are all unnecessary in my opinion, but these are real. Let's talk about some ways to help feel a little less guilt, feel a little more confident in what we're doing. We're doing a lot. Okay, so the first one is I'm not focused enough on my baby, my partner, myself, whatever. You only have so much focus to give, okay? Like, we all only have so much brain space. And parenthood, motherhood is a huge adjustment for everyone in your life. And your life is not going to look the same as it used to, okay? I think it's really important when we're talking about not letting this guilt trip just take over your life. I'm not spending enough time with my partner. I'm not giving enough to my baby. I can almost guarantee you're giving enough to your baby, because mothers tend to fall into that trap of just giving everything to the baby. And you are in charge of this new little life. You're in charge of taking care of this little one. And so here's a couple ideas for how to kind of get through this hard part. Have a conversation with your partner. If you have a partner with you, if you're living with a mother, a friend, a grandmother, if you're alone, who's the main support in your life? I hope you have somebody. Have a conversation with them about this and about the new expectations. If you're feeling a lot of stress from a partner, like they're demanding more and you don't have any more to give, you got to talk about it. You got to have that conversation and say, I don't have as much time. This is all new. And going into that, we just need to adjust our expectations, right? You have a baby. You have all of these other things. If you're a working mom, you also have a job coming up, and you have to take care of yourself, and your relationship with your partner is important. It's going to be different. So we need to adjust expectations on how much time we actually have now to give to others, now that we're also taking care of a baby. We got to just prioritize it a little bit. Things are going to look different. When the baby doesn't need you, let that be okay. All right. So if the baby's napping, do whatever you want, whether that's nap, whether that's household chores, whether that's, time with your partner, whatever you need to. If the baby doesn't need you in that moment, it's fine. The baby doesn't need you every second of every day. They don't need your constant thought. You worrying and stressing about your baby is actually doing them no good. So if they're doing their own thing, they're sitting on the floor doing tummy time and they're happy, you don't have to be engaged, Just find a new way to adjust expectations and to, utilize the support you have. Don't let this be a guilt trip for yourself. The second one, I can 100% relate to this, and that is the guilt trip of, I am always late. Now, if you were previously a punctual person, jumping into motherhood with a baby can be a bit of a shock at how long it actually takes you to do anything. Getting out the door is a huge challenge, right? We're talking to working moms in this video here. Getting home from work is also a huge challenge, okay? You're late to work. You're late getting home. You're late going to bed. You're late to run errands. You're late to a thing with friends. This is kind of normal. You would think, okay, I have a baby. I'm going to plan an extra 15 minutes. I got to feed him before I leave. That's a joke. Everything takes 4 times longer than it should. And you're probably going to feel like you're always behind, always late. And we can do some things to help with this, but this is also kind of just motherhood, right? In the mornings, wake up earlier, which is kind of a joke, even saying that, because you're exhausted. We just have to plan for extra time. If you cannot be late to work, we're going to have to wake up earlier. And, or here's another option, multitask, right? While you're getting ready, doing your makeup and stuff, if that's your pump time, pump, you know what I mean? If you have a favorite podcast that you love and that fills your cup every week, listen to that while you're getting ready. Listen to that on your commute. If you need to pump on your commute, let's do that. Let's try and find ways to maximize our time. Wash bottles the night before so that that's all ready to go for the morning. Even better, have your partner wash all the bottles and assemble them the night before so that you can just throw everything in your bag and hit the ground running, okay? Embrace new priorities, right? If being on time is super important to you, like very important, maybe that's your priority, right? If not, we just kind of have to figure out how we're going to make this work. Your mental health is really important, okay? You can't care for your baby. You can't do your job appropriately. You can't function in life if your mental health is struggling. So if just embracing a new normal is what it takes to just kind of wrap your head around it, do that too. Lastly, ask for help. Ask for help. You don't have to do this alone. At least I hope not. So don't be afraid to ask for what you need. Okay, the third one. The third guilt trip working moms put themselves through is losing your cool, right? Maybe you find yourself just having a temper, more emotional breakdowns, calling into work more often than you thought. This can be super normal, right? Every mother kind of goes through this new range of emotions, this new amount of stress and responsibilities in their life. If it's happening often and it's affecting your life, this is the point where you probably should ask for help, okay? This isn't the time where we do the guilt trip thing and we say, I'm a terrible mother. I can't even keep my emotions in check. I used to be able to do that. I can't even make it to work. This is where we want you to make sure that you're not falling into postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety. Maybe you have a hormone imbalance. There are things to help you, medication, counseling. Your doctor should have a good idea on how to help you manage. Some of these are normal, right? If you're just having some emotional breakdowns, you're finding that you're just quicker to, everything's just closer to the surface. There's a lot of hormonal changes postpartum. So no guilt around this, please, okay? If it's happening too often and affecting your life, get some help. And there's no guilt around that either, all right? I just want to be clear. This is not something to beat yourself up over, all right? Find what works for you and realize that you are juggling a lot of new things, a lot of responsibilities. You're not only responsible for yourself now and for your job, but also a tiny human life that relies solely on you. So it's a lot, okay? You're bound to have moments. You're bound to have days where you call into work because you just can't anymore, right? Enjoy your day of rest. Take what you need. Ask for help. All right. We don't need to be guilting ourselves around this on top of all the struggles we're already doing that. Okay. You're not alone. If you don't believe me, you can actually go listen to the New Little Life podcast. Moms on there every week are talking about the real parts of motherhood, tips to make it easier, and just the stuff that doesn't go right. And that's the whole point of the podcast, is to help you not feel alone, to find some tips to make it work, and to know your resources. Okay, this fourth one. We don't need guilt surrounding abandoned schedules and routines. And this one was actually really funny to jot some thoughts down, because I remember as a first-time mom, I kind of had it planned out, what my mornings would look like, my back-to-work schedule, who's doing the diaper changes, how to juggle feedings during outings, when I'm going to fit in my household chores. And I feel like at every point in motherhood, when I came up with a new routine, like, okay, I'm not doing everything I need to do, so here's what I'm going to do now, it almost never worked. So it just, oh my gosh. Babies are unpredictable. And it's really easy to underestimate the amount of physical, emotional, and mental work it takes to be a parent. And the exhaustion level really plays into routines and schedules. So instead of feeling guilty that you don't have a good routine, maybe for your whole first year of your baby's life, let's just embrace this as normal, okay? The best piece of advice somebody gave me early on was, this won't last forever. And I really tried to keep that perspective, especially on days when I was exhausted, sleep deprived, touched out, couldn't remember the last time I showered. The house was a disaster, and I just felt like a huge failure. And guess what? As a third-time mom, my youngest is almost 2 now, I can actually tell you it doesn't last forever. all of these phases, which were so overwhelming, which I felt like would never end, they did, right? And then you moved on to the next one and it was a little bit easier. And then the next phase was a little easier. And then if you're like me, you had another baby and just started the chaos all over again, times 2, because now there's 2 of them and then 3 of them. I mean, but people have been doing this for a long time, but nobody said it was easy. Okay. I definitely didn't bounce back to my, like, a good schedule routine. I've got this by 6 weeks, which is kind of what I was hoping. In fact, it was more like not even quite by 6 months, right? 12 months, maybe. Like, it was way slower than I thought, where I could just kind of get a good schedule, good routine. And even now, I'm filming this video in the summer, right? I'm a working mom. And I had a great schedule, kind of like getting all my stuff done. And then my kids came home for the summer. And I'm like, wow, I severely underestimated again the amount of time I would have for myself and my goals and the things I need to do. So this is probably a forever thing that you just have to embrace where you're at, figure it out right now, and realize that you're going to have to figure it out right now again later. So please, no guilt around that. This is just what it's like. And then lastly here, of the unnecessary guilt trips working moms put on themselves, okay, is being too hard on yourself. Give yourself some grace. Motherhood is hard. Parenthood is hard. Life adjustments are hard. Feeding your baby is hard. And there's also a lot of joy that can come with having babies and children and entering into this new phase of your life. But this does not mean that you have to enjoy every second of it, or even most seconds of it, okay? So if you're not loving this new life that you've created, right? You've got baby, you've got you've got partner, you've got work. This is a lot to manage and a lot to juggle, and this is not easy. And if you're not totally in love with the scenario, that's okay. You don't have to love every second of motherhood, and you don't have to love the hard stuff. I look back and have fond memories of some of those hard moments. I learned a lot about myself, and it's kind of brought me to where I am today, helping working moms make this easier. What things can we take out of our lives to make this more doable for you, right? But also hit your goals. I think finding the balance there is important, but you also don't have to do that alone, right? I am so passionate about what I do, but also I've been there. I remember being too hard on myself and giving myself just a guilt trip when things didn't go right, when I anticipated it being easier and it wasn't. And it's so easy to get caught up in the stuff we're struggling with right in the moment and let it define who we are as a mother, as a parent. It's easy. It's easy to do that. And I just encourage you to give yourself some grace. If somebody that you know is telling you that you're doing a good job, try and believe them. They're probably not lying. And just take it in. Try and believe it. I can almost guarantee that you are doing a good job. If you're here in this video, I know you clicked on it because you are doing great. You are feeling some guilt. You are feeling a little bit of perfectionist syndrome. So go on your social media and unfollow accounts, friends, family that don't make you feel good. And maybe they're not doing anything wrong. Maybe their story just looks different than yours, and maybe it just makes you feel bad about what you're doing, or brings in negative feelings like I'm not doing enough. If you have any of those influences in your life, I encourage you to just mute them for a while and focus on what you're doing. Focus on what you're doing right and get help when you need it. If you're a working mom trying to juggle breastfeeding and pumping, I am here to support you. That is exactly what I do. Not only to teach you the logistics and the mechanical things about feeding your baby on the breast and with a pump and juggling work, but also to give you the confidence that you can do this, okay? I can't come over there and do the work for you. I've said that before, but I can help you find the confidence that you can do this yourself. You are a good parent. You are a good mother. You are in the depths of motherhood with babies, and it can be overwhelming. So please come and talk to me if you're a working mom and you want support through this process. I'm here to help you. All right. I cannot wait to talk to you. Please tell me in the comments which one of these stood out the most to you. Maybe you felt something else too. Let's have some conversations and realize we are all in this together. I'll see you on the next video.